Hello aspirants, welcome to another session of the daily newspaper analysis. This video is brought to you by the Gurudev Academy. Firstly, we look at the topics that we are going to look at. Again, we are not going to do any editorials. We are just going to look into some of the news that has come up. The first news that we are going to take is the cabinet approves PM Shri scheme. Okay, so PM Shri scheme, Pradhan Mantri School for Rising India scheme. So we will look at the few important features that have been mentioned here. Firstly, this PM Shri scheme is a centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored scheme means funding comes both from the center and the state. Okay, the funding is done both by the center and the state here. And nextly, where is the funding going? The funding is going to be done directly to the schools. How? To DBT, that is direct benefit transfers. Which are the schools that are going to be under this scheme? The scheme is valid to only those schools in those states which have agreed to implement your national education policy. Okay, though for only those states which are imposing or implementing national education policies, in only those states the schools are being selected here. Fine. And what is the objective? The objective is to monitor schools, okay, to whatever 14,000 plus schools that they are going to monitor here. They are going to monitor what? They are going to monitor schools to assess the progress in implementation of national education policy. See, national education policy is a very important policy. National education policy was launched in 2020. It has made a few changes in our curriculum. So I advise you to just look at few of the provisions of this policy. Very important. Some of the provisions like 3-language formula, okay, so as well as entry of children around the age of 3 into schools. Okay, so these are some of the important provisions, so just look at them. Then the funding, as I mentioned, the funding will be in total of 2 crore. Okay, 2 crore funding. It will be through direct benefit transfer, that is, it will be directly transferred to the school account. Fine. As well as one more important feature of this funding is that, so whatever fund has been allocated, 40% of the funding is up to the discretion of the principal as well as the local authorities as to how they will spend them. Fine. So they can use them based on their own discretion. Rest of the fund is tied to whatever the government advises. Okay. Then one more important point is your school quality assessment framework. Okay. School quality assessment framework, when we look at what are the type of things that they are going to assess here, they are going to measure key performance indicators for carrying out quality evaluation. Okay, so whatever the evaluation that is going to be done under the school quality assessment program, they are going to assess what the quality of the school here. Fine. So these are some of the important points of your PM Shri Yojana. Moving ahead, so we have this news that has come up. So hijab issue has reached Supreme Court now. Okay, so Supreme Court, the party who has filed the case challenging the ban on hijab, that is Ms. Shifa, his lawyer, okay, her lawyer, sorry, Devdutt Kamath, has said that India should practice positive secularism when it comes to hijab. Right. So first you will understand what is secularism. So secularism is again classified into two ways, that is your positive secularism as well as negative secularism. Positive secularism talks about what? Tolerance of all religious faith, that is whatever the religious guarantee that is provided under your article 25 here, that has to be practiced in a manner of tolerance. And then we have negative secularism that says that display of religion is offensive. Like we have one of the important countries that practices this, that is France. France was one of the first country to ban hijab in schools. Right. So here what the lawyer is saying, the lawyer is saying that India should practice positive secularism when it comes to hijab case. Fine. So again here article 25 guarantees what? It guarantees you right to religion. Okay, article 25, 26, 27, 28, they guarantee right to religion, but the important fundamental right that is in question when it comes to your hijab issue is article 25. Article 25 guarantee what? It guarantees freedom of conscience and right to freely practice, propagate and practice. Okay, right to practice, propagate your one's religion. Fine. So these are the three things that have been guaranteed. But again, article 25 is not guaranteed completely. They are subject to few restrictions. The restrictions are again mentioned in this para here. Do look at it. Okay, article 25 also involves one more concept, that is your negative liberty. Okay, so article 25 puts a negative liberty on the state government actions when it comes to religious freedom. Negative liberty here means what? No state interference. Fine. No state interference in any of the religious practices. Fine. So these are some of the issues that are in news when we look at the hijab case. Okay. Moving ahead. So professor from Chennai to head mathematics panel here. So here, what is the news? The news is that Sonali Gun, okay, Sonali Gun, they are going to head Committee for Women in Mathematics. Okay, they are going to head Committee for Women in Mathematics. See, this Committee for Women in Mathematics is a part of International Mathematics Union. This Committee for Women in Mathematics has three main goals. That is, facilitate exchange of knowledge between all member countries. One. Second is improve the number of women mathematicians working on their PhDs, and lastly improving mathematical sciences as well. Okay, so it is part of your International Mathematical Union. International Mathematical Union again is a very important organization. So this union is a non-profit scientific organization. It is a member of International Science Council. What is the importance? The importance here is that this International Mathematical Union gives out two important awards. Firstly is your Ramanujan Prize for young mathematicians. Okay, it is young mathematicians, that too only from the developing countries. This award has been annually given since 2005. This award is given out by three main organizations, that is your ICTP, then you have the DST. DST is your, that comes under Ministry of Science and Tech, as well as IMU, that is International Mathematical Union. So recently, in 2021, the Ramanujan Prize was won by whom? It was won by a person from Delhi called as Neena Gupta. Fine. So please, these are the this is the first award that I wanted to mention. Second important award is your Fields Medal. Okay, the Fields Medal is also given for a mathematician. Okay. For every 4 years, it is given under the age of 40 years. Okay, it is given for people, for mathematicians who are under the age of 40 years. It is often referred to as Nobel Prize in Mathematics. Fine. So recently, that is last year, Maria Vesenskova, she who is a mathematician from Ukraine, she has won the Fields Award. So the person becomes very important, as well as please remember, this is given every 4 years for mathematician under the age of 40 years. Okay, then moving ahead. So again, this is related to your environment pollution, concerning air pollution, the air emissions. Okay, the hazardous emission that is given out by who? That is given out by your coal plants. Okay, so what is the issue here? The issue here is that, see, the government had issued a notification in 2015 regarding the emission norms of these coal plants. Okay, because when we look at NCR and Delhi region, this coal plants were contributing to a lot of air pollution. So the notification was released all over India, including your NCR and Delhi region, that by 2015, okay, that was released in 2015, which said that there were few emission norms that had to be followed regarding to the control of three main chemicals, that is sulfur dioxide, then we have the nitrous oxide as well as mercury. These are the hazardous chemicals that are released from the coal plants. What did the notification say? The notification said that inside 10-kilometer range of NCR, whichever coal plants are there, whichever power plants are there, they have to establish these emission norms by December 2025. Fine. So again, I'll repeat. What did it say? The notification says that the power plants, okay, and surrounding area, which is located 10 kilometers of NCR, these regions are called as critically polluted areas. These critically polluted areas have to enforce these emission norms by December 2025 according to the latest notification. Fine. And for other region, the deadline has been extended. Other regions in India, the deadline has been extended by December 2026. So here, what is the issue? The issue here is that initially the emission norms had to be fulfilled by 2017. But again, the deadline has been keep on extending. Once it was extended by 2022, now again on Monday, when the deadline was extended by the government, it has been extended up to 2025 and 2026. Fine. So environmentalists are not happy with this. They have been saying that whatever the environment concerns are there and whatever emission norms have been put up, they are not scientifically right. Okay, like the government is not very serious about the role of SO2 when it comes to the formation of PM 2.5. Particulate matter 2.5 is a very hazardous chemical. Fine. So these are some of the things that have been highlighted in this report. I want you all to look at this. Fine. Moving ahead. So CBDC, that is the central bank digital currency. Here the report says that it will reduce time cost in cross-border business. Fine. So we look at what CBDC is. See, CBDC is your fiat currency. Fiat currency means this currency is not backed by any physical asset. Okay, it is not backed by any physical asset like gold or silver. Fine. So again, when the money is generated, it is given a surety by any physical asset. But our notes, our rupees notes, they are not physically backed by any assets like gold or silver, but it is backed by the government. Okay, the government by the signature of governor. Okay, by the signature of governor. So here, fiat currencies are your official currencies. Every person, every citizen who is residing in India, they have to mandatorily accept the fiat currency. Okay, so whatever the notes you have, they are fiat currency. No person can deny the services based on the rejection of your fiat currency. It is compulsory. Okay, and also remember, fiat currency is not backed by any physical asset. It is just guaranteed by the government. Fine. So now that you see CBDC, that is your central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency is a fiat currency that is virtually obtained. It is a fiat currency that is virtually obtained using blockchain and other technologies. Right? RBI started to roll out this by this year. This year they have launched this CBDC on a pilot program, but the plan is by the end of this year it will be launched full-fledged. So the article here talks about what are the uses, what are the benefits of having your CBDC, that is your central bank digital currency. I know many of you will get confused between CBDC and cryptocurrency, but there is a huge difference between both of them. When we look at it, digital currency is a fiat money. Fine, sorry. Digital currency is a fiat money that can be used in contactless transactions. But when we have cryptocurrencies, it is stored using encryption. Okay, it stores a value using a encryption. Your digital currency is regulated by the central authority, but your cryptocurrencies are decentralized and unregulated. Okay, so no one can regulate a cryptocurrency. Fine. As well as digital currencies, rates are stable and currencies are globally accepted. India does not accept cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency trading is allowed, but cryptocurrency trading, okay, trading is allowed, but it is not allowed as a use of a payment system. Fine. Then digital currencies transaction are only known to the sender, receiver and the banker. But when we look at cryptocurrencies have what? They have public ledger. Okay, public ledger. So everyone will be knowing where and when the money has been transacted here. Then digital currencies are protected by strong passwords, digital wallets, credit cards and all, UPI system and all. But cryptocurrencies are secured by encryption. Right? So there is a lot of difference between a cryptocurrency and your digital currency. Please don't get confused between them. Then, so this is another news that has come up, which talks about the Chinese president as well as Russian president. Okay, they are going to hold talks in Uzbekistan. Why? Because see, Uzbekistan is going to host your SCO summit. Okay, the Prime Minister is also traveling. Our Prime Minister is also traveling here. So these we have done SCO many a times in our videos. Do check it out. SCO is a military organization as well as the economic organization here. Fine. So it is a very rare occasion when India will be part of a military organization. So what is the news here? The latest news is that Iran. Okay, Iran has become the new member. It has become the new member of the SCO organization here. Fine. So please, whenever the summit happens, please look at the important deals that have been signed and what has been the theme of the meet here. When the meet will be happening, we will be covering that as well in one of the videos. Fine. So that's it from today's video. You can follow us on these social media handles. You can follow on YouTube, Telegram, Instagram as well as on Facebook. Thank you.